Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something called the Cybersecurity Maturity Model Certification, or CMMC. And trust me, if you do any business with the Department of Defense, this is a game changer.
So let's just get right to it. Ask yourself this question. If the answer is yes, or you even plan on getting a contract, you're going to want to lean in. This isn't just another piece of red tape. It's the new cost of entry for working in the defense industry.
For a long time, cybersecurity compliance was kind of on the honor system, right? Well, those days are over. The whole era of just saying you're secure is ending, and a new age of having to prove it is beginning.
So here's what we're going to cover. We'll break down what CMMC actually is, look at the timeline, which is ticking, figure out what you need to do, go over the critical rules you just can't ignore, and then lay out how you can start preparing like today. Okay, so what is this CMMC thing really? Well, think of it as a program from the Department of Defense to make sure that contractors, that's you, actually have the right security in place to protect sensitive government info. It's all about proving your defenses are solid, not just promising they are.
At its core, it's a certification process. It proves your company meets a certain cybersecurity standard for the contracts you have. You can almost think of it like a mandatory driver's license for handling government data. No license, no driving. Simple as that.
Now, the good news is this isn't all happening overnight. The DoD has laid out a multi-year plan to ease everyone into it. But, and this is a big but, the clock has officially started.
Okay, I want you to look really closely at that first date, November 10th, 2025. That's your starting pistol. Phase 1 is all about self-assessments, which is basically your golden opportunity to get your house in order before the mandatory third-party audits become the norm in Phase 2.
All right, so which of these levels applies to you? It's actually pretty straightforward. Your requirements depend completely on one thing, the type of information your company handles. It all boils down to the data. You've got two main buckets of information. On one hand, you have Federal Contract Information, or FCI. That's the basic stuff that's just not meant for public eyes. But then you have Controlled Unclassified Information, or CUI. That's the sensitive stuff that legally needs much better protection. If you only deal with FCI, life is simpler. If you handle CUI, well, the bar gets a whole lot higher. And this table lays it all out beautifully. Level 1 is your foundation. Basic cyber hygiene, you do a self-check every year. Level 2 is the big one, the standard for protecting CUI, and that's where you'll eventually need a third-party auditor to sign off. And then Level 3, that's for companies handling the really sensitive data that needs protection from sophisticated cyber threats.
Okay, this next part is, without a doubt, the most important section of this whole briefing. Let's talk about the rules of the game for your assessment, because some mistakes don't just cost you points, they get you thrown out immediately.
So what's the one thing that will stop your assessment dead in its tracks? It's not a fancy firewall or some piece of software. It's a document, and without it, the conversation is over before it even begins.
You see this quote? This is the official way of saying you showed up without your System Security Plan, or SSP. That SSP is the absolute bedrock of your compliance. It's the document where you detail how you meet every single security requirement.
Let me be crystal clear about this. If you don't have a complete, up-to-date SSP, you get an immediate no CMMC score. You don't get a bad grade, you don't get a chance to fix it, the whole thing's just over, terminated.
But let's say you do have your SSP, but you've got some other gaps that aren't showstoppers. You might get what's called a Plan of Action and Milestones, or a POAM. It's like a conditional pass, but it comes with a very strict deadline. That number, 180. That's your clock. And the rules here are absolutely brutal. You have exactly 180 days to fix everything on your to-do list. After that, you get one and only one closeout assessment. You fail that, your conditional pass is revoked, and you're right back at square one, starting the entire process all over again. And listen, you can't just stick anything on that PO&M to fix later. The most important high-impact security controls, things like controlling who has access to what, those have to be perfect before your assessment even starts. There is zero wiggle room on this. Okay, knowing how high the stakes are, what can you actually do right now to get ready? This isn't about sitting around and waiting. It's about being proactive. So let's map out a clear plan of attack. It really boils down to 3 pillars of preparation. First, do an honest, thorough self-assessment to find your own weak spots. Second, make that system security plan your #1 priority. It is literally your ticket to the game.
And third, start fixing the gaps you find, making sure to tackle the most critical ones first.
Now, if you really want to get ahead of the curve, here's a pro tip. Start aligning with the next version of the security standard, which is called NIST SP 800-171 Revision 3. Even though today's assessments are on Revision 2, the DoD has already told us where this is all headed.
The department has already spelled out some specific new requirements for Revision 3. By putting these key parameters in place now, like longer passwords and stricter rules for inactive accounts, you're going to save yourself a ton of headaches and expensive rework down the road. It's just smart preparation.
When you boil it all down, CMMC is becoming a fundamental part of doing business with the Department of Defense. This is not an IT problem to solve later. It's a business survival issue to solve now. Preparation isn't optional anymore. It's absolutely essential. So the only question left is, are you ready?